Hello guys, we're from Group 6 and we will continue the presentation about assessing industry conditions. There are exposure to industry characteristics. Some firms are more exposed to industry conditions than other firms. Factors that impact a firm's exposure is first, the firm's market share, the firm's focus on its main industry. Companies that focus their business on one industry in general are more exposed to industry conditions. For example, Smith Corona Corporation, which focused its business on producing typewriters and word processors, is highly exposed to change in overall demand for these office machines. When the demand for these machines declined due to the increased use of computers, Smith Corona Corporation was declared bankrupt. And another example is Motorola in telecommunications. And then this is the graphic of influence of market share on exposure to industry conditions. How much a company is affected by changes in industry conditions depends on market share or overall sales share in the industry or market. Companies that control a greater share of the market will usually benefit more from increasing industry demand. Companies that have largest market share are also affect more than small companies. When industry demand decrease, this is how companies with greater market share are more affected by change industrial demand. Assuming the industry has only two companies, Company X with market share 80% and Company Y with a market share 20%. In the first year, overall industry sales declined to 5 million units. Assume the market share of each company to be fixed. Sales of Company X decreased to around 4 million units, while Company Y decreased to around 1 million units. A company has no control over industry demand. However, the company can try to forecast the demand for industry, which allows it to forecast demand for its products. For example, it is assumed that the company expects industry demand to equal 5 million units for the next year. If the market share is 20%, the product demand forecast is as follows. First, if conditions change that causes industry demand to decline, then the demand forecast of the company's product must also be changed. For example, if the industry demand forecast from the previous example is changed to 4 million units, the company's product demand becomes only 800,000 units. There are 20% exact 4 million units. Company market share information is available on internet because a company's exposure to industry conditions depends on its market share. This information is very useful for potential investors from consumers. And then we have the graphic of comparison of performance across industries. There are financial, industrial, computer, biotech. This is the increase and decrease from month to month from October 2001 until May 2002.
Hello, my name is Andi Abdul Syukur and I want to explain about reducing exposure. First is diversification is the process of allocating capital in a way that reduces the exposure to any one particular asset or risk. A common path towards diversification is to reduce risk or volatility by investing in a variety of assets and attempt to create a more stable return on investment than focus on a single industry. And firms should only diversify into business for which the firm has sufficient expertise.
Putting within an industry, point number one is intense competition can separate the performance of well-managed firms from poorly managed firms. Point number two, to enhance performance potential, firm should number one, assess its competitors. Number two, develop a competitive advantage. The competition. First, identify industry segments and main competitors by point number one is segmenting by type of business. For example, degree of competition differs by segment. Point number two is segmenting by perceived quality. Number two is the degree of competition. Point number one, anticipate change in competition. For example, entry and exit of competitors, expansion of exciting firms, increase in price competition.